Hey guys, welcome to Surf and Show. I'm Noel Salas, and today's surfboard review is on the Monster Box by JS. I have it in the Hi-Fi construction. This is a stock board. It's 5'9" by 19 by 2 5/16. Liters of volume's 26.5. I'm 5'9" and 170 pounds. I'm excited to talk about this board. I had a great time. It's really fast and super responsive, so sit back and enjoy the show. So as we dive into the attributes on this board, I want to talk for a second about the way I think JS, the way they talk about the way they design this board is they have the Monster 6, which is the high performance shortboard, and then they have the Black Box 2, which is the small wave groveler. And they wanted something dead smack in the middle to be like a daily driver where you could still get high performance surfing in that 2 to 4 foot range before you had to step down into a groveler. And you know what? I think they nailed it pretty good on this board. So it has a medium entry rocker. I really can't tell if it's continuous or staged here. I think it's like a continuous, but it's very subtle. And then it has a medium exit rocker. And you know, with that rocker, like I felt like it could drive off the bottom and stick my bottom turns, and I could hit my top turns. And it felt like at times I was riding a standard high performance shortboard. And then when I needed the speed to get down the line, I felt like it was there for me like a groveler. They also were running a pretty aggressive single concave here into a double between the fins and out the tail. And there's no real noticeable V out the back, and it transitioned from rail to rail real nice. It's only 19 wide, so it's not a super wide board, and I kind of like that. And I feel like that's kind of where shortboards are today for us non-professional surfers. We're riding something with a bigger sweet spot. We want to get as much drive down the line as possible, and this board was doing that for me. So let's have a look at the outline on this board. It looks and feels like a high performance shortboard with less rocker, and that's exactly what we need. Let's talk about that for a second. If I'm surfing a 3 or even a 4 to 6 foot wave and it's got some bowl to it, I'm gonna want that rocker in the Monster 6. But since I'm surfing that less than average wave, even at like that 2 to 4, but I want the high performance, all we have to do is take away a little bit of that rocker, and that's what they did. They gave me a little bit fuller outline in the nose here, and then taking that and graduating into the center here, it's got a really soft, forgiving rail. So in my hand, it's not real pinched and it's not full. It's right in between, and they did a really good job in hiding that foam in the distribution of the way they shaped it, where you can't see it in your hand, or you can't see it to the eye. And then it has, even the rail back here is a bit softer. And so I just felt like it was really forgiving, and I think you need that. And it almost makes a sweet spot a little bit bigger, because we don't always stand in the same spot every time. And so that forgiveness is really gonna help us. And then into the tail, it's not super wide, which is perfect. Now, as we get into grovelers like the Black Box 2, you're gonna want a wider tail because we're in that 3 foot and under range. So they did a great job. The tail also has that subtle bumper hip, and that's a great pivot point, something for us to pivot off of and do the turns we wanna do. So let's talk about this special construction that JS is calling Hi-Fi. They do have a patent pending, and I can see why. There's strange carbon, unidirectional carbon fiber stuff everywhere. But we'll start with the bottom, right? We've got these, I don't know if you can see it, but we have diamond-shaped carbon all the way through the bottom, and it is kind of running in this diagonal pattern consistently, even though the diamond point is straight up. You can see that it's laid in a particular direction. Now, they're also running this carbon fiber that starts in the middle of the fins all the way to the nose, and that's gonna help with manipulating and controlling flex, because they started with an epoxy core that has no stringer. So that's gonna be really flexible on its own, and then they start tightening it up from there. So now I wanna talk about the top construction, because it's as unique as the bottom. We've got, from nose to tail, we've got the carbon fiber, which is gonna help control and manipulate flex, right? It's gonna stiffen it up where we want it. And then they're also running carbon fiber that's running from nose to tail on the deck that I can see only, that's in these really small lines, and you can really see it here. That's where you can see it best, right? And then you've got the overlap on the rails that are coming from the bottom to the top. That goes all the way around the whole board. And then there's even something going on that I can't put my finger on that's going underneath or on top, but it's very subtle. That kind of breaks diagonal, and it's got that diamond shape again. So very unique stuff going on here that I've not seen before. Now, how does it feel under my feet? As you can see, the deck has its dents, and I rode it quite a bit, and it felt really good. So let's talk about, I like to see how things are when they load on my bottom turns. As I'm dropping in and I'm going down and compressing, I'm looking for the board to load. So I'm looking for it to flex. And then when I come out of that and I lift my weight and I'm driving out of that turn, the board starts to spring me forward or spring me out of that in towards the lip or wherever I'm going. And I felt like it was doing that great. It really felt like, I would say it felt like a PU to me. I didn't feel like it was any different, like it was stiff or rigid. I felt like it was flexing really good. And then in and out of my turns, I think that's when you want an epoxy. Like for me, I like epoxy and EPS boards on smaller waves, and I'm looking to generate as much speed as possible. And this board felt good. So the last thing I want to talk about are the fins I chose. I used 3 different sets, and to be honest with you, it didn't really matter what fins I chose. It felt great with all of them. But I started with the Mick Fanning. This is the large, and it felt great. It has a good amount of rake, so I felt like it was really solid in the carves, and I really liked it. And this is my go-to fin. I always start my fin testing here, and it felt great. So as we scored on footage for this board with waves, I thought, well, what I'm looking to do is I want to get a little bit more surety in my turns, so I went with the new Julian Wilson. This is an all fiberglass fin, which is going to be a lot stiffer than the Performance Core. And what I like about this is, okay, for the nuances for epoxy boards for me is 4 foot and bigger is sometimes I have a hard time settling that rail down in the water, and it feels like the board wants to slide out. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to get something that I could count on, and that's why I put the large Julian Wilson fin in there. So that felt good too, but where I ended up with was the Kolohe Andino fin. Now this is a large, and what I like about Kolohe's fin is it's a little bit more upright, and it felt really good. It made the board feel really responsive top to bottom. I could get the board a little bit more vertical faster, and that's what I'm looking for. So all three fins felt good, but the Kolohe felt the best. Well guys, that's it for today's show. Special thanks to JS. Hey, the Monster Box and the Hi-Fi construction is legit. 2 to 4 foot performance shortboard. I loved it. Great board. I had a really fun time review. Hey, look, if you like the show, subscribe. You can also find me on Instagram under Surf and Show. And hey, we did launch the new website, surfandshow.com. Check it out. You can compare boards next to each other, star rating. I'm trying to make it as user-friendly for you guys as possible. Well, that's it for today. Take care. Bye-bye.